Hello everyone, welcome to another tutorial. My name is William. In this tutorial I would like us to look at Laravel Localization. And Laravel Localization is basically changing the language of the application to a language that is preferred by the user. In other words, we put our application in a way in which we can be able to accommodate varied languages, in this case a multilingual application. So in this case you might have English users, French users, and maybe Spanish users, and they can be able to use the same application, and each person will be able to choose their language and be able to be served by that language. And so in this case we need to also include translation files that will be able to enable whatever it is that we want to implement to be possible. Now, translation files can be stored within subdirectories of each language in the language folder. And we can also use translation strings, which we can define also in JSON files. So in this case, there are two ways. We can be able to have folders where we will have the different languages and then their translation files, or we can have JSON files. So let us go ahead and see how we can be able to implement this. So the first thing we are going to do is to create the localization, the language folder. So in this case, I'll just click here and create a folder, and we are going to call it lang, L-A-N-G, like that. After creating this folder, inside here, I want us to be able to take care of three languages. So in this case, I will have a folder which we are going to call EN for English. So let me create a folder, not a file, a folder which we are going to call EN for English. And then I want also to create another folder which we are going to call ES for Spanish. And then lastly, I want to create another folder for French, FR, like that. So inside these folders we will have the translation strings, and then we can be able to sort of like adapt our application to be able to work with different languages. So let us go ahead and see what we can be able to do. And even before I finish, I would also like to mention that instead of creating these folders, we can just also use JSON files. So you can just have en.json, es.json, fr.json. That one is also possible to implement. So before we do that, I would like to take you to the config folder, the app file. And inside this app file, so config app.php, and inside here you can see we have the application name, and then as we scroll down we are going to get something about the time zone. I'm interested about the locale, so in this case the locale is English. And then we also have the fallback locale. Again, in this case we have it as English. And then we also have the faker locale, and so on and so forth. So here is where we can be able to set maybe the default locale of our application. So in this case, we will leave it as English that way. Now let us go ahead and be able to see how we can be able to implement all these. Our application is already running, and I would like to just open it in Chrome and show you what I would like us to adapt to maybe different languages. And just to mention, we will be using Google Translate. And remember, Google Translate is not perfect. So if you are doing translations, probably you can get a native speaker and they can be able to help you to translate the files, and you can be able to save them in those folders. So let me just run our application. So this is a Laravel 10 application, fresh installation. And then we see we have some text under documentation, some text under Laracasts, and some text under Laravel News, and then vibrant ecosystem. So I'm going to do localization of this, and this. And this fourth one, I will leave to you to also attempt and see if you can be able to do it. So let us go ahead and see how we can be able to do that. the first thing I can see here is documentation. So I'm going to just have inside here a file which I'm going to call, maybe let me call it front page .php. So it's the file that we are going to have all those other files, and we are going to say return, and we have an array of values, and inside this return is where we are going to put our strings. And of course we will not forget to have the PHP tag there. All right, so these are localizations for English, so I'm going to just type here documentation. You can have it as small letters, but that is how you reference it, where we will be putting it. And I would like to just copy everything that we have here in the documentation and paste there. And since it's not possible to copy directly from here because it's a card, when it's clickable it goes to the link, I would just like to open resources, views, welcome.bled, and then scroll down to where we have the information for, yes, Laravel has a wonderful, this is the information that I want, and I will cut it, and then we are going to paste it here. We are going to paste it here like that. So, and then we can be able to reference that code here using so let me just go and show you how we can be able to replace it. Because I have cut that text, I want us to replace it with something. So you click here, and we are going to have the curly braces and double underscore, and then inside here we are going to call it front page, because that is how the language file is referenced as front page dot documentation, because inside here the line that we have that is talking about the text that we have is that. So here I'm going to write documentation with a capital like that. And so if we are to refresh, you will find it's giving us that constant front page is not found. Let me see what that could be. Yes, we are supposed to surround it with yes, like that, with single quotation marks. So if we refresh again, you can see the text now is appearing, but remember this text is actually coming from the translation files. So I also want to do the same thing for Laracasts. So I also have another key here. You put a comma here, and then we are going to have Laracasts, and also go and get the code for Laracasts. So let me go get it. So still we will go back to our welcome.bled.php, and then I will scroll down. Yes, and we have something about Laracast, some text. So I'm going to cut all this text like that. If I save, if we are to refresh again, you will find that there is nothing here. Yes, it has gone. So that is what I want us to go and put in our translation or localization file. So in this case, you paste it here, and after we have pasted it there, I will go back to where we have Laracast, and I'm going to just again reference it like that, underscore, and then we have quotations, and we have front page again to reference this file dot Laracasts. And I think we are using capital letters, so I will use the same. So again, if we come and refresh, also that one is also here. So let us also do the same for the last one, which is Laravel News. This one, as I've said, I will leave for you to do. So when we scroll again, we find that we have Laravel News. Even this one I'm going to cut. I'm going to replace it with the one that we are getting from the file. So here it will be front page dot, let me just call it news, small n, news. So that is how I'm going to put it here. So I will just press enter to get a new line. I'm just going to say news, and then you have it like that. You paste it here that way. So now looking at it, we also have the data being passed here. Now I would like to copy everything that we have here, and we'll be in a position to do maybe the translations. And in this case, as I have said, we are going to use Google Translate. I know the translation is not accurate, but it's just for purposes of the example that we are looking at. So I will still have another file here in Spanish, and I'm going to call it front page again, because it's the same file, frontpage.php, such that when we reference to it, it is just one file. And I'm going to sort of like copy everything that we have in this other file. Let me just, yes, I'm going to copy everything in this file up until whatever it is that we have ahead there. So you copy, and we are going to paste it in this file like that. And then now I want to go to Google Translate and translate every single line here. So let me go with this. I'm going to translate it to Spanish. So I just open Google Translate. Google Translate, and how you translate to Spanish. So I click here, and we are translating to Spanish. So I'm going to paste the text here and then copy what we have in Spanish. We are going to copy that, and then we will come and paste it here. I'm going to do the same for Laracasts also. I'm going to highlight all of whatever it is that we have here and delete, and paste whatever it is about Laracasts, and then I'm going also to copy it. After I copy it, I will go back and replace there. And then the last thing is about news, or Laravel News. So I will also copy this one like that, and then still go and paste it here, such that we have a translation in Spanish, and then you come and copy it and paste it there. So we have our Spanish translation file is ready, and then I would still want to copy the same file here and create another file with the same name. So again, front page .php. I've typed it wrongly. Front page .php, and you paste this. So you copy, let me copy and paste here. Again, in a similar fashion, I'm going to translate the text one by one to, again, French. So here I'm going to change the language from Spanish to French, like that. And then I'm going to paste the data that we have. So that is nice. So this is French, and I'm going to replace in that line again. For Lara casts also the same. I'm going to copy up until the end here, and then now you also paste that one and copy that one again like that, and then we will go and replace this one. And then lastly for Laravel news also, how you copy that and come and paste it here. Very nice. And then I think we are done translating the data in that page. And this one is having problems because I think somewhere within, yes, because of this semicolon, so we are going to use double quotation instead of single. It will be fine. So double quotation instead of single quotation for this last one. The others will remain the way they are, and I think we are okay with that. So now I want us to be able to see a way in which we can be able to change this localization. Remember, the file that we are working with on web.php is just the file that we have. So currently maybe we can be able to change manually to just see if everything is working perfectly. In app.php I want to change the locale to ES, that is Spanish, and I want to refresh and see what happens in our application. And you can see everything is in Spanish for these three of them. This last one I said is yours. And then I can also attempt to change to French, and then also when I refresh again, you can see that the text is actually now in French. Now you cannot be able to be doing hard coding like that, and so I just want a simple way in which you can be able to change. But if you want to implement this in your application, probably you can be able to move the code maybe to a middleware. But I'm going to just go to web.php and be able to modify whatever it is that we have here. So what I'm going to do is to be able to add on top of whatever it is that we have here, I'm going to add locale. In this case, we are going to pass in either fr, es, or en, like that. And then here, the string of whatever it is that we are passing. So string locale, we are going to have it in a variable called locale. And then after that, before we return the view, we are going to check and set the locale. So in this case, we can check and say if we are checking the negative. If we are not able to find in the array, so in this array of values that we have here, so if in array we cannot be able to find these values, so our locale being either of the values that we are having here, so en, that is for English, and then es for Spanish, and then lastly fr for French, then it means whatever it is that is being passed there is something that we do not know, and we can abort 400, like that. Else, if we find a value in our array, either en or es of fr, then we can be able to set the locale, and we can be able to do it like this. So app set local, and we will pass in our local like that. Also, it's important to remember that after we do that, we also import above here, we import app. So use illuminate support facades app like that. And I think that will be able to work very fine for us. I see we have an error. Yes, and it's because I didn't include a semicolon here. So I think everything is fine. Let me see if we can be able to do that. In this case, if you just call localhost like that, we will not be passing in the locales, so a string here, so it will give us an error. But if we pass en, so localhost /en, as you can see, illuminate. Yes, I have a problem. We are having an error, and it's because of a typo. I have seen I have used small letter. That is where the problem has come from. So let us try again. Yes, now we are having English, and if I change this to ES, as you can see, we're having Spanish. If I change this to FR, you can see whatever it is that we're having is actually translated to French. I would like to just maybe show one more thing which I'm interested in doing, and I would like to have two more keys in all the files, and we can be able to pass parameters within the translation files, and that is what I would like to do now. So let me go ahead and see if I can be able to show how that can be done. So I want to pass a name. So in this case, I want to have another key value pair. So we have name, and in this case I'm going to pass in a name here. But in this case, if you are dealing with an application, the data that is being passed will be dynamic. So you have maybe my name is, and it will be changing. So it's not a single person that will be visiting our application. So every other person, maybe if they are logged in or something, you can be able to pass their name from maybe the database or something. So we can pass it like this. So my name is, and then we pass name with a full colon, and that will be it. This can allow us to go ahead and be able to just do more about it. So let me just put a comma here because it's the reason why I'm getting an error. So so I want to see how we can be able to pass a name to our view, and I'm going to just use this first in our web.php. In welcome.blade. I'm going to use just immediately after front page documentation. That is the one I want. Front page documentation. I want to have a BR tag, and inside here I would like to do the following. I would like to pass in the name. So in this case, if we are to pass in the name, then what we are going to do is a front page the same way, __ front page dot name. And since we are passing in the name dynamically, then we can also have an array whereby we have the name. So we can do it like this. So we can say name and then we say probably William, and this you'll be able to do the trick. But since this name is also being passed from the database, I would like to just set it to a variable name and then go and set it somewhere else. So name, just like that, so we can be able to pass it in dynamically a little bit more. So let me go to our web.php. So we are just going to assume it's as if we are passing this data from the controller, and I think it's easier to understand if I do it like this. And we are going to have our array of values. So here I'm going to say name is now William. Name is William, like that. So now if we go back and refresh, as you can see here, we have my name is William. And so I can be able to move this data also to other translation files. In this case, we are going to copy whatever it is that we have here, and we are going to move it to the other translation files, that is or localization files, that is Spanish. And so for Spanish, I'm going to put it here, that, and then also for French, I'm also going to do the same, and then also go and do the translations on Google Translate. So here I can say my name is, and I think this is French. So yes, this is French, so I will copy this and go and paste in our French file, so like that. Yes, I think that one is okay. You save that, and then we also change this translation to Spanish. Once I change it to Spanish, we are going to have this one here. So even for this, I'm going to copy and also go to the Spanish file and then paste it here like that. So if again I go to our Laravel application and attempt to be able to look for the translation, you can see now it's giving us the translation. So my name is William or something of that sort. And then also if I change this one to Spanish, again you can see it's being translated. One last thing that I would like to do before we finish this tutorial video is also to see if we can be able to have conditional translation. So maybe something that is singular being pluralized or something of that sort. So even for that, I would like to just do one thing here. So I'm going to have another key, and I'm going to call it experience, and we are going to say because if somebody has experience and we are getting this data from the database, if one has 1 year experience, we will say I have 1 year experience. But if you do translation, maybe you change one now to another number, you still say 6 year experience, and that will be problematic. So for us to be able to cater for that, we are going to be able to state the value that we want for each of these conditions. So for the first one, we are going to say if we have it as 1, if we have the value as 1, we can say I have, then we can say value, year experience in programming, like that. So in this case, 1 year experience, and this value here, we are going to replace it dynamically. And then after that, we can use this straight slash or something. I do not know the specific name, this one here. And then we can also put another condition. So we can say if this value now is 2 and above, sorry, let me, yes, is 2 and above, so we just put a star. And then now, so if this value is 2 and beyond, in this case 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, then here we can say I have value years experience in programming, like that. Maybe we can have a full stop, something of that sort. I believe everything is fine with this one, so let us see how we can be able to display it on the front end, I mean on our page. And so here I can also have another BR tag to just do hard-coded sort of like way of doing things. And I would like to now work on the last one, and this one I would like to use PHP tag. So in this case, I would like us to have PHP tags. So at PHP and at end PHP, like that, we can be able to use these directives in Laravel Blade. And here I want to just echo trans underscore choice. So trans underscore choice, and here we are going to have front page dot experience, because it is the key that we have set here. But I think we have only done it for one file, but let me just finish it and then we will go and do a little bit more. So front page dot experience, and then we will be able to pass in a variable called value, like that. And on top of that, also an array of value, in this case set to a variable value, like that. So that is fine. I will go ahead now and be able to set the value in our web.php. So in the same way we did with the name. So here we still do the same. Let me just move this such that it is seen as something that we are working with here. So here we can have value, and the value we are going to set it to maybe 1 for now, such that afterwards we will set the value to something else. I will put a comma there to just clear out the error. So we have the value as 1, so you expect 1 year. But in our localization files, I've not been able to do translations for Spanish, and I've also not been able to put the file there. So let me just copy this, the whole of this line, and I'm going to paste here in Spanish, and then I'm also going to this is French, is it? Yes. And then I'm also going to paste it in Spanish. After that, I think we need to translate for Spanish and French. So in our Google Translator, I want to translate I have. I have. Yes, so in Spanish it's tengo. You come and paste it here, and I think it is the same with this one here on this other side in the conditional translation or localization. Now we have years experience and year experience, so those two I'm going to also copy and paste here like that. So years experience, this one is for many of them, so this I will paste on this last line, and then the one that I will paste elsewhere is year experience singular. So yes, this one I'm going to paste it here, and then I think that will be good with it will be good with the Spanish. So let us go to French, and so for French also I want to have you can change this to French, and this one is year experience, so I'm going to copy and replace what we have in this first instance here. What have I written? Yes, years experience in programming, that one is okay. So, and here, because of this single quotation, we will have to change everything here into double quotes such that our code works. So double quotes, I think that one is okay. I'm going to change this into capital, into plural, so years, and it has changed into that. So you copy this also and paste in the second yes, here. You paste it here like that, and then save, and then I will also translate I have, and it is chai. So you copy this again and paste in both the two conditions. So here where we are having I have here, and then also on this first one. And so I think we are good. We have the two things, so let us try and check our code again. So here we have the name, my name is William, and then when I check again, we are not having the other one because I have not, have I included it? Let me see, because I think I did. Welcome.blade. Here we have front page.experience. What is wrong with this? Is it spelling? Let me check in my file, copy it, and then now you come and paste here. Paste, no, not there, paste here like that. Experience value, and then value echo trans choice like that. I think everything seems to be fine. I do not know what has happened. Is the application running? Yes, it is. So let us check again. Yes, it is there. So I have 1 year experience in programming, and this one is in English. This one is in English because it is actually using the fallback. I do not know why that is the case, so let me check Spanish. we are having experience. I think it is the same, and also this one is experience. Probably, let me ensure I have saved. Yes, I did not save for Spanish. So again, when we refresh, now you can see now it's giving us the information in Spanish. And if I change this to French,